This building right here may only cost $100 per square meter. Catch? You don't even know who it's owned by. Welcome back to Travel Reports, where today I'm gonna go over why a building just like this can be a magnetic investment for your dollar and why no one talks to you about it because ownership in the Soviet Union is so opaque. So, without further ado, let's get into it. I just was walking by this apartment block, I believe, anyway. It could be an old school as well. I saw that it was abandoned. Now, this may sound like a risky bet, and to some extent it is, as zoning laws are particularly odd in places like Ukraine or like Georgia or anywhere else that you may think of in the former USSR. But what it does show me is that there is massive upside potential in buildings like this if you can find the owners. Now, what's interesting about the former USSR is people are very communal. The communal nature of the former USSR allows for information asymmetry. Now, what is information asymmetry? Well, information asymmetry is the fact that you have information that no one else has. And this is so powerful because you grow the value of the product without even understanding much more than who owns it, as that is opaque, that is not see-through, that is not transparent. And so, let me be clear. No, but the fact that there is so much asymmetry in a building like this that is decrepit and realistically would need new windows, would need some structural conformity. But if you look just across the way, just right there, I guarantee you that will be up to 500 to 1,000 euro per square meter. Think about that for a second. If you could own this for 100, fix it up for 200, and then sell it for 500 to 1,000, would you do that? I think most people with a brain would. Even if you don't like money, take 3 months, 5 months, get it into a working conditional state. 2x multiplier in 3 months. And my guess is this total floor space is not a tiny amount, right? It's perhaps a few hundred square meters, maybe 1,000. And that's what creates a inherent divide between those who have information, those who are on the ground, and those who are not. Now, I'm gonna switch scenes real quick so I can go over better what the asymmetry play is, not just in terms of the cost, but also in terms of how you can apply it in other markets as well. So yeah, let me go to another location really quickly. So as I said, the opportunities that you're able to find in Ukraine, if you can find the owner, are insane. They are something you won't typically find anywhere else. And the reason why is, first of all, there is a war. There is the potential of your capital being entirely wiped out. Now, I don't have much issue with accepting that risk, and I don't have a ton of problems with being involved with potentially risky things. However, it is something you should realize that there is the potential that Russia does win, and if and when Russia wins, you will have your house that you invested in taken away. This happened with the displacement of people in Crimea, where essentially they were displaced for quite some time and never allowed to go back because of the Russians. And then their houses were just given to ethnic Russians, which were then, they essentially just got free houses, which is messed up, but it's what war tends to do to these areas, and potentially that is a risk you potentially will have and you would come up against. However, with the abandoned buildings, many of which need massive restoration and perhaps $300 to $400 per meter squared. Here's another abandoned building. 300 to 400 square meters dollars per square meter in strictly repairs, it is a risk you're taking for sure. And all asymmetric bets on property values rising are inherently risky, as the stable markets only return about 11 to 12% per year, whereas the non-liquid, sort of more risky bets, they may return 30% per year, but you only have them for 5. And, that's not inherently a bad return. You're getting 100% of your money back, and a little bit more, but then you don't have the asset. It's a risk that you have to understand, and once you understand that risk, you inherently become a lot better at identifying potential properties that would be good for investment. Things like this, for sure, would be good for restoration. I believe this is near Arcadia in Odessa, which is one of the most expensive areas of Odessa. And I guarantee you, if you found the owner of one of these properties, they'd be willing to sell it to you for pennies on the dollar, because they can't fix it up. They don't have the money to fix it up. And certainly they don't want the risk associated with fixing it up. So you gain, like I say, a very asymmetric return on investment in really nice areas in former Soviet Union, as they do not have solid land rights due to, so they have gone from not having any land rights to shaky land rights to weird, you get this piece, but I get this piece. It's just really weird, the system in the former Soviet Union. And while I think that it is a very risky bet, especially in smaller areas, it is some of the most risky business you can get into. It does create opportunities, own houses realistically below what materials cost, which is not something you can say in many markets. And the frame of the house is often the most expensive part. And so if you find something with a solid frame that just needs windows, that needs perhaps a door, things like this, modernization furniture, then you can get a really good deal on a house for in the $10,000 range in a village. Now, most villages I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole, as currently I'm in Odessa, and even here it's fairly cheap to buy real estate, and the values of real estate are not insane. They're not high by any metric, except in Arcadia. Arcadia is more expensive in some areas than Kyiv is, even near Maidan or near Bodil, which are some of the most prestigious areas for real estate in Ukraine, which creates a very interesting sort of dichotomy. But yeah, this is a huge opportunity if you know the right ways to go about it. And it's with that if you are looking for stuff like this, of course, you can book a one-on-one call with me, and I'll fly out to whatever country you need me to fly out to, and I'll help you with all of this. My consultancy, this is what we do. We help people with finding deals in globalization. And yeah, if you are looking for those services, I encourage you to reach out. This has been the Traveling Report. If you liked it, leave a like. If you really liked it, share. If you're looking to join me on this journey, feel free to leave a subscription. This has been this Traveling Report, and I'm signing off. Peace out.